Welcome back for another edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted, the program where you get to help make Calhoun County a better and safer place by helping us lock up the bad guys. I'm Chris Wright, along with Calhoun County Sheriff Matthew Wade. Sheriff, good to see you.
Always good to be with you, Chris. I just enjoy doing the show so much, and man, they've never let us down in what, probably going on close to 15 years.
It's been over 15 years now that we've been doing this show.
You know, and this week is like no other. 8 arrests. They've never let us down. We appreciate that, bringing the count up to 4,238 people that's been put in jail because you were willing to say something.
Thank you very much for doing that. And now it's time for us to share a little bit of information with our viewers here. It's a two-way street here. We get information from them that helps us and the whole community, and we want to share some information with them. There's an old saying that I heard a long time ago. I can't remember who it came from, but ignorance of the law excuses no man.
That is correct.
It is on you to know the law and how it affects you, but it's also important for us to make sure that when the laws change, we put that information out so that people have a chance to learn it.
Sure.
And there have been some changes with the DUI laws.
With the DUI laws, you know, it took a fourth DUI. You had to be convicted of DUI 3 times in the last 5 years to go after somebody to make it a felony. Well, now that's been changed. Now, if you have one DUI conviction in the last 10 years and you get arrested again, you're going to be charged with a felony.
And there's a little bit more to it as well,
Yes.
and our Assistant District Attorney Randy Mueller is going to explain that for us now.
On the new felony DUI provision, if you have one previous conviction for a felony DUI, it doesn't matter if it was last year, 20 years ago, in this state or another state, your next DUI is going to be charged as a felony DUI in this state. Under the current provisions for felony DUIs, you're going to be sentenced anywhere from a year and a day up to 10 years in prison. They did change the provision to where your interlock device time decreases under a felony DUI. This is new under the law, from a 5-year interlock time period to a 4-year interlock time period. Under the new law, under pretrial diversionary programs, which we have in this circuit and other circuits around the state have as well, if you enter into those programs, you now have to have an interlock device on your vehicle for 6 months. Previously, there was no provision, and you were able to skirt around that requirement by entering into a pretrial diversion program. Interlock is a device that you affix to your car that you have to breathe into. And if you register a certain amount of blood alcohol, your car won't start. Also, if you register a certain amount of blood alcohol, it informs the monitoring company, which then informs the court. Another major change is the indigency findings by the court on interlock usage. Right now, there's a fee for use of the interlock. The person who is convicted of a DUI not only has to pay well, it used to be a $300 fee. It's now been reduced to a $200 fee, but they have to pay for the installation and rental upkeep of the interlock device in their vehicle. Now, if a court makes a finding that they are indigent for purposes of the interlock device, they're not required to pay anything. Under the previous provisions, if we were to charge you with a DUI second or third or fourth time felony, we were able to look back for the past 5 years for DUI convictions prior to this current DUI. Under the new provisions, we're able to look back 10 years now. There are some other changes in the new law that affect the time period for which a driver's license is going to be suspended. It lowers it in some circumstances, and it also reduces the time in some circumstances that an interlock device is required to be on the vehicle. On the new felony DUI provision, if you have one previous conviction for a felony DUI, it doesn't matter if it was last year, 20 years ago, in this state or another state, your next DUI is going to be charged as a felony DUI in this state.
I've seen a lot of accidents from DUI. Just don't do it.
And that's the main message, just don't do it.
Just don't do it. It's deadly and costly, and it's just best if you just don't do it.
All right, we'll be right back. We'll have the first half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to this week's edition of Calhoun County's Most Wanted. First up on our lineup this week, Charlena Merkerson. Miss Merkerson, last known to be living in Anniston. She's wanted for a probation violation on possession of a controlled substance. And this is Darla Keller. Miss Keller, last known to be living in Piedmont. She's wanted on a probation violation for possession of a controlled substance. And take a look at Jody Cheatwood. Mr. Cheatwood, last known to be living in Delta. He's wanted on a probation revocation for destroying state property by an inmate. And this is Charles Everett. Mr. Everett, last known to be living in Anniston. He's wanted for failure to appear on use and possession of drug paraphernalia and possession of a controlled substance. And take a look, if you would, at David Hodge. Mr. Hodge, last known to be living in Piedmont. He's wanted for failure to appear on permitting dogs to run at large. And meet Amare Hall. Mr. Hall, last known to be living in Anniston, wanted for probation violation on domestic violence second. And last up for the first half of our lineup, Charles Blackwell. Mr. Blackwell, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for probation violation on possession of a controlled substance. And that's it for the first half of our lineup. Stay tuned for the second half later in the show.
More bad guys in just a few minutes, but right now let's have some fun, Sheriff.
Let's have some fun. You know, I've been seeing all the videos of the Kiki Challenge and all this other stuff, and you know, I ain't gonna lie, I've practiced it, I'm just not really good at it.
We haven't had one of those videos from the Calhoun County Sheriff's Office. Been a little bit busy.
Been busy.
But we do have some lip syncing coming up here, and Patty Tiller from the ARC of Calhoun, Cleveland County is with us and ready to tell us about the big event this weekend.
Exactly. Thank you for having me back to talk
Always
about
a
this.
pleasure.
Well, I love talking about this. This is one of our big fundraisers. It's become more popular every year, and it's our lip sync battle. And it's our challenge, and we get different groups from the community to come in and have fun for a couple of hours, lip syncing to their favorite songs in a contest, kind of a mashup of American Idol and America's Got Talent and all those kind of stuff, but having a lot of fun and raising money for people with intellectual disabilities.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about hearing any horrible singing.
No, definitely
The singing's
not.
all going to be great.
No, and because you can't hear me from backstage. Sometimes I do sing along with it, but
It's hard sometimes when you got somebody up there lip syncing not to sing along.
I know. And then last year we had a moment where they did a kind of a encore at the end, and the whole audience sang to the song. It was God Bless the USA. It was kind of cool.
You know, one of the things that I love about this particular fundraiser is because of, I think it's so fitting for the organization with the ARC, the clients that you work with, they don't let anything hold them back.
Exactly.
You get to see 100% of them every time you meet them. And with this, people are just cutting loose. They're not worried about how they look. They're just having a good time.
Exactly. And it is, we do have a couple of acts that will feature either entirely our group, our folks, our adults, the People First group are performing. And then we've got a whole family that's performing. One of our consumers went home and said, hey, and so now the whole family has gotten an act. But we also have individuals from the community too that are right there having fun. We've got a lot of acts from Piedmont and Oxford, the whole 9 yards this year.
And for anybody who's not familiar with the ARC, if they don't know who we're talking about, tell us about the people that you work with.
The ARC serves people with intellectual disabilities. That used to be called mental retardation. We don't use the word retardation anymore because it's been used incorrectly so much to hurt people. So we use intellectual disabilities, and we serve people throughout Calhoun and Cleveland counties. We serve people with something very familiar, Special Olympics, but we also do individual advocacy for folks that are trying to live out in the community, that have jobs. We do some job support for them. We have some educational programs for the kids in school still, and some transitional programs. So we have a wide variety of programs trying to assist people to do and be the best that they can be.
And we had some big success for some of them here recently at the Special Olympics, didn't we?
Absolutely. We went to national games. We had a group of 4 paddleboarders who were the first ever paddleboarding team from Alabama to represent the state in the National Special Olympics Games. And they finished individually. We had a gold and a silver finish from those 4 teams, and then 2 fourth-place medals. So pretty good for your first time.
Not bad. Sheriff, you do any paddleboarding?
No,
It's not flying, so.
I could do that before flying.
That's right. And then we also had folks from the sports that we've sent to national too. We had bowling and bocce, and also finished with gold and silver and bronze in those events. So,
You could do the bowling.
I'm not
No?
good at it. I can do it, just I might not be good at
Put
it.
the gutter guards up and.
The little airplanes, yeah.
yeah. Well, you know, the good thing about Special Olympics is we do treat it like any other track meet, any other sporting event, but the way that the divisions are, they are sectioned off into competing against people of their similar abilities. So you could find somebody that you could bowl up against, right?
Thank you for the encouragement. I do appreciate the encouragement.
No, I know you'd be great.
All right, we need to talk some more about the lip sync battle. We'll do that when we come back here in just a moment. And we'll also have the second half of this week's lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome back for the second half of our lineup. First up this half, Michael Fleming. Mr. Fleming, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for a probation violation on possession of a controlled substance. And meet Eric Martin. Mr. Martin, last known to be living in Lincoln, he's wanted for a probation violation on assault second and theft of property third. And take a look at Tyrone Martin. Mr. Martin, last known to be living in Anniston, he's wanted for probation violation on possession of burglar's tools. And this is Jonathan Keaton. Mr. Keaton, last known to be living in Gadsden, he's wanted on a probation revocation for assault second. And meet Terry Cruz. Mr. Cruz, last known to be living in Huntsville, he's wanted for a probation violation on attempting to manufacture a controlled substance. And last up in our lineup this week, Dennis Williams. Mr. Williams, last known to be living in Oxford, he's wanted for a failure to appear on assault second. And that's it for your lineup this week. If you have any information on the whereabouts of these folks, please give Crime Stoppers a call at 256-238-1414.
We'll talk about some property crimes that we need your help with here in just a few minutes, but right now we're talking about the lip sync battle for the Arc of Calhoun and Cleburne counties. And Sheriff, when did you pose for the lips here on the
Well, you know, we did
poster?
that last year, and I had just gotten done with the dentist with getting my teeth whitened, so I think it was a good shot.
And the color of lipstick, it's just wonderful.
That's my normal.
Oh, okay.
Patty Tiller is with the Arc, and this is just a fun event. Have we still got opportunities for people to get involved on stage, or is it at this point just come out and enjoy the show?
Well, you know, we try to keep it as open as we can. People cannot come that night just for time element. We've got it set up. But if they contact the ARC at 256-236-2857, hopefully maybe before Wednesday or Thursday, and I get the program done.
Right.
We've still got room that we can maybe have 2 more groups. We've got a pretty good lineup this year. But
Any specific names that we need to mention that are going to be on stage?
well, you know one lady who's frequently here on your program or precedes your program or is taping when I get here. So,
Okay.
by the name of Tina Houston. But we also have Ramsey Whitney, and she's not going to be singing.
How can you have Ramsey on stage and she's not singing?
She just could not miss an opportunity to be on stage.
She'll be great lip syncing too.
Yeah, and Jason Wright, who runs a great arts program in Piedmont. He's got a group of his students, and he are going to perform. So we've got a very good lineup of individuals that want to come in and do this. And again, you know, they raise money all this time for us, and so that's another way that if you know of any of these individuals and you cannot come Saturday night at 7 p.m. to see them perform, you can still contribute by donating some money to them, and then they possibly can get an award that we call Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is, which is the big fundraising award. Yeah, we tried to be cute with that one.
Well, let's talk about the money. What happens with this money? Why does the ARC, of course we all need money just to keep programs going, but what does this money help you do?
Well, this money is very good because this money isn't going to be targeted for one specific program. You know, a lot of times when we write grants, we write it for a specific program, and it only can be used to, like, say, for a Special Olympics to buy the paddle boarding. But we have day-to-day cost that we have to pay the light bill, but we also have some program costs like buying supplies. We have program costs like salaries that grants seldom cover, and we're not talking about our staff, because our staff is small, but like we do summer camps, and we hire teachers from out the area to run our summer camps, experts in the field to deal with the different disabilities that they're dealing with. And so all of this helps us just in our operational expenses, but also if we have specific needs, because it's not designated for another program, we can go ahead and spend it on that. And it's very important that we do that this year because with some of the changes in the tax laws, you know, there's different incentives for people to give to nonprofits, and also some of the changes in the ETF, Educational Trust Fund, that's impacting us. Fundraisers like this are becoming increasingly important to us.
It's got to be heartbreaking when you're there every day. You see the needs that your clients have, and then you see some opportunities come along, and sometimes you're able to take advantage of those opportunities to provide something special.
Right.
And other times it's just, oh, that would be great, but we just can't do it.
Yes, and because the nonprofit budget is almost always stretched very thin. You know, we have individuals that are very good to us. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to take that back and say that we don't, but just by the very nature of the people we serve, you know, it's hard to plan for all the needs throughout the year. And it's hard to plan also for like expansion. Like we started an art program to teach some of our folks not only art specifically, but some crafts and things that they could do on their own and our independence and raise some money. But that took off. Right. So, you know, you plan for 10 people to be in the art class, and all of a sudden you got 20
it's too successful, now we got a problem.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's great. If people want to be there, it's going to be at the Oxford Civic Center on Saturday at what time? It
starts at 7 p.m., and we're very good at sticking to about a couple of hours, depending, you know, on the wonderful acts. The acts have 2 5-minute acts. That they get to perform 2 songs, and they get to vote. So if you're coming, also bring dollar bills, because you get to be in on the audience choice.
Awesome. Thank you, Patty, and good luck on Saturday night.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll be back with our Crazy Criminal and the Crime Stoppers segment of the show on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.
And welcome to the Crime Stoppers portion of our show, where we ask your help for these cases. First up this week, between August 2nd and August 6th, a home located on Highway 144 was burglarized. Forced entry caused a door to be shattered. A television, military uniforms, vacuum cleaner, Ryobi tool set, and miscellaneous power tools were all stolen from that residence. And around 9 p.m. on August 8th, someone attempted to burglarize a home on McDaniel Street in Anniston. A door and door frame were damaged, but nothing has been reported stolen at this time. And that's it for the Crime Stoppers cases this week. If you have any information on these cases, please give us a call at Crime Stoppers. That number, 256-238-1414. Remember, we want your information and not your name.
Stupid! You're so stupid!
This week's Crazy Criminal is an inflatable rainbow unicorn who abducted some ladies in Minnesota. They had to be rescued by this sheriff's deputy. He just wanted to take a selfie, saw these ladies on this contraption floating in the river, and then figured out that they were stuck and needed to be rescued.
That's really a unicorn situation.
Yeah, it is.
Interesting.
I want one of those. Where do we get one?
I don't know. Well, it's a unicorn. Yeah. They're hard to find.
They are. All right, that's it for this week. We'll be looking for you again next week, but hopefully not in the lineup on Calhoun County's Most Wanted.